Okay.
Yep, I'm here.
Very good. Okay. We will now call to order the December 7th, 2023 meeting of the City of Davenport Zoning Board of Adjustment. The Zoning Board of Adjustment holds public hearings to consider the strict application of the zoning ordinance for hardship variances, special uses, and appeals. I'm Jeff Blumker, acting chair of the Davenport Zoning Board of Adjustment. Members present today are, from your left to right, Bridget Boyd Carlson, myself, and we have Dan Darlin joining via teleconference virtually. City staff present, Laura Berkeley, Scott Coops, and City Attorney Mallory Bagby. If you have a mobile device, please turn it off as it may interfere with the room's electronics. As we conduct our business, we expect that everyone here will conduct themselves in a respectful, courteous, and civil manner and will speak only after being recognized by the chair. The only exception to this standard is that the staff is expected to interject when necessary to ensure we are properly conducting our business. If anyone wishes to speak on a particular agenda item, you will be provided an opportunity to do so. When recognized by me, please step to the podium, introduce yourself, and provide your input. By practice, each person is only permitted one opportunity to speak. Exceptions to that practice is at my discretion. Of course, if a board member asks a question of anyone, they will be permitted to speak to answer that question, but I'll ask that you keep your response limited to the specific question. Moving forward, first item on the agenda is the minutes. Are there any corrections to the minutes from our last meeting? Hearing none, may I have a motion for approval?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Second by Dan Darn. Okay, very good. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. First item of business, I'll ask with the 2024 meeting calendar has been distributed by the staff. Anything that the board needs to know about the calendar, staff? Any questions by the board about the 2024 meeting calendar? Okay, very good. Any old business to take care of? Hearing none, we move on to new business. Is the applicant here for the first item of business, which is a request HV 23-16 of Gwen Keene on behalf of Quip Trip Corp. at 2904 West 76th Street for a hardship variance to construct, firstly, a second freestanding sign 40 feet in height being 230 square feet in area, and secondly, 3 directional signs being 14 square feet in area. Davenport Municipal Code 17.12.060.d restricts freestanding signs to 1 sign per property being no more than 25 feet in height and 100 square feet in area. Municipal Code 17.12.050.c.9 restricts directional signs to 4 square feet in area. And this petition is coming out of Ward 2. And again, I should have asked, now's the time to ask, is the petitioner here?
I am.
Very good. Now, I need to point out that there are only 3 members present of this 5-member board. Approval of any motion requires the unanimous vote of all 3 members present today. Our bylaws grant the chair the discretion to allow you to request a tabling of this hearing until a later date. Once the board hears your item, the opportunity to table will not be available. Applicant, would you like to proceed or would you like to have the hearing tabled?
I will proceed.
Very good. Staff, may you please hear the
staff does have a question for the applicant. Does the applicant want to proceed with both requests for the directional sign or the signage request and the dumpster? Yes. Okay. Staff would request that we have the vice chair read the other request as well, as our presentation covers both. issues
good.
together. Thank you.
Second item that we'll be reviewing today is request HV 23-17 of Gwen Keene on behalf of Quick Trip Corp. at 2904 West 76th Street for a hardship variance to construct a refuse container, a dumpster, in the secondary front yard along the north property line. This is Davenport Municipal Code 17.09.030.Q, which restricts refuse containers to the rear or side yards. May we have the staff report, please?
So, Scott Copes, Community and Neighborhood Services. The request here, well, first I've got a little aerial, just shows the location. But this is a property located near the interstate, and the intended, customers are going to be coming from the interstate. So in summary, the request, there's signage request and there's a dumpster request. The signage, there's a second freestanding sign requested. The code only allows one. And on that second freestanding sign, there's two issues. One is that it exceeds the sign height, and two, it exceeds the sign area. The other issue with signage is that our directional signs are allowed to be up to 4 square feet. The applicant has requested a 14 square foot sign. Related to the dumpster, this is a unique property, as we've shown back on this map here, that it really kind of has straights on 3 sides of the property, and it does create a kind of a unique situation. And so the applicant has requested that they be allowed to have it in a different yard than normally allowed. This is the site plan, and in red, this is the same as what was in the packet, but in red here is where the dumpster is going, kind of the north. The property kind of runs northwest to southeast, but this is kind of on the northeast middle of the property where the dumpster would be. It's adjacent to the building. Technically, the dumpster should be, I guess there's a slide here that I don't have. Technically, the dumpster should be located in the shadow of the building here, which is where they have their gas pumps and their drive aisles, which really doesn't leave any decent place for a dumpster. Now, regarding the second freestanding sign, that's in the northwest portion of the property. They also have their allowed monument sign at the intersection of 76th and Northwest Boulevard. This is what the signs look like. We have the second freestanding sign on the left here, and we have the directional sign, which is going to be 14 feet in area instead of 4 feet in area. And again, this is the sign that's allowed by right. It meets our requirements for area and height. This is the dumpster plan. It meets our, and actually exceeds our requirements. It's a masonry wall, and it's going to have a metal front, so it meets our screening requirements. And staff did do notification to everyone within 200 feet. 13 notices were sent out, and we have had no comments received. So to take the sign issue first, I can talk just general about the sign. There are other signs in this intersection that have had variances. Staff is not allowed to look at those and use those as reasons to grant a variance. That's the way the courts have decided over time. Each property is unique, and each hardship variance is unique to each property. So staff didn't really provide a lot of detail on those other signs. So item number 1, the application. So the ordinance hasn't really created a hardship that can't be surmounted. Item number 2, physical surrounding imposing hardship has not been established. This is a flat piece of land. relationship to an interstate or not to an interstate. There's a lot of properties in town that aren't close to an interstate, and there are some properties that are close to an interstate, but not every property is the same distance from the interstate, and not every property is equal in that regard. So there is no physical characteristics of this property that deem it necessary for a variance. Item number 3, unique circumstance has not been established. And number 4, protection of essential character has not been established. Technically, that's correct, but it's going to be difficult for, people driving by Quick Trip on Northwest Boulevard are probably not even going to see the second proposed sign as they're driving by. So it would be hard pressed for someone to drive by and say, oh, this looks out of character. It looks like there's a lot of extra signs, but technically that's the case. Staff cannot technically recommend approval of the variance. And for the dumpster, the zoning code does create a hardship. I don't think the code ever intended or ever discusses properties that have frontage on 3 sides and how to locate a dumpster. It makes it pretty much near impossible. We had the same situation when we had the car wash at Kimberly and is it Jefferson Street. So this is not the first time we had, well, actually there's another one. We had the same issue at 5 Points as well with the dumpster for the car wash there. Number 2, physical surroundings. The physical layout does limit the use given the 3 frontages. Number 3, unique circumstance. I think that has been established given the 3 frontages that are there and the lack of quality locations to go to with the dumpster. Item number 4, protection of essential character has been established. So staff recommends the board adopts staff's finding regarding the dumpster and approve the request 23-17 as proposed. Staff would ask that you vote on these separately, but I did want to discuss them both at the same time. And that concludes the staff report.
Okay, very good. So we'll take the first item, the issue of the signage. Are there any questions from the board of staff?
Question. Can you go back to the slide that has the signs on it, pictures on it? So they're both 230 square foot on the tall.
Yeah, so
I'm confused.
Yep, the one on the left is the sign that exceeds the height limitation and the area limitation.
Okay.
And that's just different angles of the same sign on the left side.
Yeah, so this
right.
very small picture way in the bottom is actually to scale with the other one. And then, so it's the same image twice. And that just shows what the directional signage will look like. It's wider than typically what our signage would allow for. We would allow for something about.
It does meet the height though.
Yep.
And then there's
Yep.
3 different directional signs at the entrances. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board of city staff regarding the signage issue? Hearing none, we'll ask the applicant.
Oh, hang on. This is Dan. So I know, Scott, you mentioned, that you're not supposed to take consideration of similar such things, properties in the neighborhood. But there are, on the north side of the interstate, similar signs, right?
That is correct. There's the Flying J that has signage that's similar in height. There's Speedway and there is Love's.
Okay. Thank you.
And those 3 properties have all had hardship variances granted.
Any other questions of city staff? Hearing none, we'll ask the applicant to please step up to the podium and present your request.
Thank you. My name is Gwen Keene. I'm with Quick Trip. I've worked for the company for 21 years now, and we are excited about coming to Davenport. We think this is a great spot for one of our locations, but why we're here today is because of signs and dumpsters, so we'll have fun talking about that for a little bit here. I appreciate the staff's position where it comes down to whether or not they're able to recommend, and appreciate their information being forthcoming that there were other variances that were granted to similar businesses as ours in the immediate area. There's some pretty monster signs out there, and ours pales in comparison to some that are out there. I think the most recent was the Speedway in 2020. So we are looking for fairness. We're looking to be able to be competitive. I do believe that there are some unique situations and circumstances with this physical ground. It is flat, but one of the issues is it kind of sits in a hole. So even our monument sign is going to have a great difficulty being seen. The only reason why we're asking for that second monument sign, because obviously the high-rise sign is the most critical and key sign that we need, but you do have traffic coming around that corner, and they won't be able to see that high-rise sign at the far corner of the site plan where we have it. We have that high-rise sign there because we need it as close to the highway as possible. When you come off that highway, you see the McDonald's and BP, you see the Love's right there off that ramp. And so we're gonna, even with where we have it placed on the site plan, it will be a challenge for those people that are looking for us to come see it. And we all know that everybody looks at the gas price, and that's what other people are looking for as well. They want to see the Love's price and the Quick Trip price and everyone to really make that decision. That all comes into play into the visibility hardship that we're asking. People make split-second decisions when they're going to a facility like ours, and we want them to be able to make safe travel and turning movements in order to get to where they decide they want to go. And that's why we believe visibility is a hardship when it comes to the signage, and why we've requested the signage that we have. We don't come here lightly, just, hey, this is what we want. But we've actually made modifications to other signage in order to comply with your code to make sure that we had all of that. But we believe these two key components are vital to a safe and a good experience when you're coming in, trying to find a new location like ours as a Quick Trip. We are requesting those directional signs being the size that they are, because we really believe the best thing to do when coming to our location is making sure those trucks know where their entrances are and where they are not. We like to keep that smaller vehicular traffic separated out from that larger truck traffic. And again, we are aware that others have been granted directional signage that exceeds what the code indicates. And I understand why, because that's what we're looking for as well. It's not necessarily to just make it as big as possible. Obviously, the bigger you make it, the more cost it is for us. But we believe there's a greater cost in trucks mixing with smaller vehicular traffic. So we just want to keep it as clean and concise as possible so the trucks would know where to go and where not to go. So that, I think, answers a lot of the bigger questions as to why we're here asking for the signage. If you have any further questions for me, I won't belabor the point. And so I'm just here to answer any other questions besides what I've shared today.
Thank you, Ms. Keene. Are there any questions from the board for Ms. Keene regarding the signage issue?
Not for me. I thought she covered things pretty well.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Ms. Keene. Does anyone in the audience want to speak in favor of the request? Hearing none. Does anyone in the audience want to speak opposed to the request? Hearing none. Ms. Keene will ask you, do you have any final comments regarding the signage issue?
My only final comment is we did, unfortunately, we weren't able to supply renderings, but we were able to do that today. I apologize for the gentleman who had to call in that doesn't have that, but I do believe that shows the dumpster location, the signage, and that it really is appropriate for the area, and we'll hope you'll take that into consideration as well.
Thank you. Okay, any board discussion at this time? We invite board discussion.
In my opinion, this is Dan, what they're asking for is not out of character for property in along the interstate corridor.
Thanks, Dan. I can tell you I have interest down in Effingham, Illinois, and I've had the pleasure the past year watching Quick Trip develop an operation similar to this on again, a very tricky parcel of property. And I can tell you that Quick Trip they are great managers of their business. So it's that I think they completed that in the spring. So they're coming up on almost a year in operation there. And I can tell you they're great managers of their business. They're great stewards of the property. They're good partners for the city. And I can tell you the city of Effingham is glad that they went through the gyrations to make that development happen. This is a tricky intersection out there at Northwest and 76th. There's a lot going on, and obviously Quick Trip doesn't want to put any more money into this than they have to, but I believe they've done their due diligence here in terms of being able to properly guide traffic. I think this will be seen as a good investment for the city of Davenport. It'll be an asset out there. Okay, if there are no other comments or discussion by the board, I'll ask for a motion.
On the dumpster HB 23-17, motion to approve.
I
Oh,
think
we're still on the sign one, so.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Motion,
So
I'm sorry.
HB 23-16.
Yeah, we need a motion on the signage issue at this time.
HB 23-16, motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, very good. We have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor?
We do
Roll call. Roll call. Okay, very good.
Darlin,
Yeah.
Boyd Carlson,
Yes.
and Blumker.
Yes. Very good. Motion passes. So now we move on to the issue of the dumpster. And again, we'll ask, are there any questions from the board of staff regarding the dumpster issue? And again, this is request HB 23-17. Any questions from the board for staff regarding the dumpster issue?
No.
Okay, very good. Hearing none, we'll ask the applicant to please step up to the podium and present your request.
There's a lot of wide right-of-way out there, odd-shaped lot. You'll notice back on that rear property line, there is no place to really snug in a dumpster. The other issue is the further our employees have to go to take care of that trash, the more traffic they cross. And so this is really the best location for that, as this staff has recommended. So we obviously concur and hope that you'll grant this variance.
Very good. Are there any questions from the board for Ms. Keene?
No.
No.
Okay, very good. Does anyone in the audience want to speak in favor of the request? Hearing none, does anyone in the audience want to speak opposed to the request? Ms. Keene, do you have any final comments? Okay, board discussion, please. And again, this is relative to the HB 23-17 dumpster request.
Yeah, I think this location makes sense. Yeah, put it way back behind the lanes for the semis. The rear of the property, as code suggests, doesn't really work well in and they need a shuttle to get there. So yeah, I think this is a good compromise.
I have no comment.
Any other comments from the board? Any discussion? And if hearing none, we'll ask for a motion.
I'll motion to approve HB 23-17 with the staff findings and recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor?
We'll do a roll call vote. Boyd Carlson,
Yes.
Darland,
Yes.
and Blumker.
Yes. So motion passes. Any other business to attend to at this time?
Just a reminder that our next zoning board of adjustment meeting will be December 21st.
Any board members have anything else to discuss? Other issues?
No, thank you for accommodating my travel.
You're welcome. And just staff does want to, we do have a meeting on the agenda for the 21st, which is somewhat time sensitive. They've been trying to get it in by the end of the calendar year.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good for that one.
Very good. Then with no other business, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
So
Motion.
moved.
Motion to adjourn by Darland, second by Boyd Carlson.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.